For this video, I'm going to show you some basic charting procedures in Excel. The first thing you want to remember when creating a chart in Excel is to highlight your data. If you have a header row, you'll want to go ahead and select those header row titles as well. If you don't, as in this case, you're simply going to select your data. So I'll click on dog and drag down through the two. Then to choose your type of chart, you'll go to Charts on the ribbon. And as you can see, there are multiple types of charts that you can choose. For this first chart, we're going to choose a pie chart. Notice that there is an arrow next to each type of chart. This allows you to pick a more specific type of pie chart or column chart or whatever you may be using. I'll go ahead and click on the arrow. And as you can see, there are several 2D pie options and 3D pie options. We're just going to choose the basic pie chart. When it comes up, you'll notice that most of the time it goes ahead and gives you a legend, and then it gives you your pie chart. Now we might want to spruce up our pie chart a little bit. We might want a title, we might want to move where the legend is, change some colors, maybe add some percents to our pie pieces, and we're going to go ahead and do all of those things. To start with, let's add a title to our chart. To do that, we need to go to the ribbon and choose Chart Layout. Notice that this button will not appear if you are not clicked on your chart. So make sure you're clicked on your chart before you try to go to Chart Layout. So we'll go ahead and go to Chart Layout, and as you can see, there are tons of options here for us. We can change our chart title. If it was the right type of chart, we could change the axis title, and etc. So right now we're going to start with chart title, and I'm going to put my title above my chart. Then to put my chart title in, I simply highlight and type in the new chart title. You could also copy and paste from what is already typed on your spreadsheet. Okay, next, let's add some percentages to our pie pieces. So I will click again on my chart. Again, this is a chart layout item. So we will go ahead and go here to where it says data labels, and we can choose to add the value, the name, category name, percentage, and I'm going to go ahead and choose percentage. And notice that it put it on the inside of the pie pieces. I can also choose to put it on the outside of the pie pieces. Another chart layout decision you can make is where your legend is. If you go to legend, you can choose any one of these options. I'm going to go ahead and choose to put my legend at the left. Now that we've done some layout decisions, let's go ahead and change the colors in our chart. Now, a lot of us might like to change the colors in our legend. So to do that, you actually have to do this in chart layout rather than format, because you'll need to go to legend and choose legend options. So I will go ahead and go to my fill bucket here, and I can choose a color for my legend. And then, because I don't like how the black looks on the brown, I might go to font, and this is where I would change the font color for my legend. And I can say OK. So that's one place you can change the color. You can also change the color of the background of your chart, so you'll want to click in the white space. Then you can go to Format, and you can use the Fill Bucket and Line tool just as if you would for a Word auto shape or text box. So I'll go ahead and choose a fill, and then I can choose a line color just like I could in Word for an auto shape. I can do all the same changes where I can choose a thicker weight, and then if I want to, I can choose a version of dashed or dotted. So that's how you change that part. Then I can also click on individual pie pieces and change them. So for example, if I want to change this red to a different color, I click once to select the whole pie, twice to select the individual piece that I want, and then I can choose whatever color I would like to replace it with. So if I wanted to do a gray, I could. You can continue to click on those pie pieces. Remember, click once to select the pie, click a second time to select the individual pie piece, and just like you could for the outside border, you can choose to add a border to your pie pieces. You'll want to make sure you pick a color that shows up, otherwise it may seem as if there is no border there. Let me go ahead and make that thicker so that you can see it. As you can see, you can dress up your chart as much as you like. So that was a pie chart. Pie charts do not have as many options as other types of charts do, such as a line or column chart. So let's go ahead and do a column chart. We'll do it with this birthdays data here. Again, make sure you highlight all of your data, go to Charts on the ribbon, and choose the type of chart you want. I'm just going to choose the basic clustered column chart. Since I only have one series of data here, I can simply click on the legend and get rid of it. Again, I could add my title the same way. I could add a legend if I needed to. For this particular one, I'm going to want axis titles. So again, I would go to the chart layout section, and now you can see that axis titles is an option. So I can add a horizontal axis title, and I can add a vertical axis title. And in the same way that I did my chart title, I just click in the text box and can type in the axis title. There we'd have months, and here we might have number of students. A column or bar chart also gives you the option of changing grid lines and changing your axes. So right here you can change your axes, and you can choose to have a label or no labels. You can also go into axis options, and if you go to scale and number, you can change how your scale is working. We're not going to do that right now. I'll leave that for you to investigate. Right now what we're going to do is change our grid lines. So we'll come here to grid lines, and we can add additional minor grid lines, or we can remove the grid lines. In the same way, you can also color this type of chart. Again, you can click on the background of the chart, use Format, and fill the background of your chart. Notice that on this one you also have a plot area that you can fill. So if you click on the plot area, you can add in a color for that part as well. And the same as you did with the pie chart, if you click once, it selects the whole series. If you click twice, it selects the individual bar, and you can change individual bars in your column or bar chart. It will work the same for a line chart. Okay, let's look at the last one where we would do a line chart. So I'm going to look at reading times here. Again, you would want to select all your data, and you can see that I do in fact have a header row this time. So I will select all of that data. Again, go to Charts, choose the type that I want, and I want a regular line graph. You can see that it put January, February, March, April, May, June, and July on the bottom. And you can see that Sally and Walter are my key. Now there are some situations where you will want to switch this data so that Sally and Walter would be on the bottom and the months of the year would be in the key. And to do that, you simply come up here to Data and select Plot, and it will change it. In this case, it doesn't make much sense, but there will be some cases where you will want to switch the plot. So I'll go ahead and switch back. So let's say you made a mistake and didn't select the correct data. You can reselect your data for a chart by simply clicking on Select. Clicking on this little button right here, you can see it says Chart Data Range. It will take you back to your sheet, and you could in fact reselect your data. So let's say I only wanted to go through June. I would stop highlighting at June, click this button again, and then say OK. And as you can see now, it only goes January through June. In the Select Data section, you can also rename your series if you wanted to or needed to in order to make your legend appear correctly. Again, you can move the legend just as you did last time. You can change the grid lines. You can also change the color, any of the other things that we have talked about. One of the biggest things you'll have to notice about charts is that sometimes you just have to look around to find out what you can do. Not everything can be taught in one lesson, so keep that in mind. Think about what task you want to complete and try to decide, is it something about the basic chart that I want to enter? Is it something about how the chart is laid out? Or is it something about how the chart is formatted, color, style, etc.?